updates. Winter sports season is in full swing, and BC boasts some of the best mountains in the world. Registered dietitian Ashley Charlebois joins us now with some top tips for maximizing your performance outdoors. And the first tip has got to be fueling your muscles before you work out. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. So before you hit the slopes, so before doing any kind of winter sport, you do want to make sure that you eat something.
So we're talking about this.
Yes, we're talking about this. So you want to make sure that you're having something that's high in carbohydrates, moderate amount of protein, and not too high in fat. Making sure that you don't avoid carbohydrates, because that's actually our body's primary source of fuel during activities. So these are some good examples right here. We have some fruit and some yogurt, and that's a good mix of carbs as well as some protein. You can throw in some whole grain cereal in there as well to get some more carbohydrates for energy. If you want, you can throw this into a blender, add some natural nut butters, add some, sounds funny, but some kale or baby spinach in there for an extra boost. Yeah, and it actually doesn't taste so bad. It doesn't taste as bad as it sounds. Something more simple, just have some whole grain toast and some hard-boiled eggs or even some nut butter on there. Add a fruit on the side, and that will give you a good combination of carbs and protein to fuel you.
Bread is not evil then?
Bread is not evil. As long as it's whole grain, it gives you a good amount of fiber.
Okay, here's the other thing. Hydrate.
Yes.
Rehydrate. Why is this so important?
It's so important because especially during the winter months, we don't actually notice maybe how much water we lose through perspiration out there. And that can lead to dehydration, which can then have a negative impact on our performance and our recovery.
It's hard to know how much, though. You keep saying 8 glasses. How do you know how much is enough?
Yeah, that's right. Well, the daily recommendations for fluid for women are about 2 liters, so that's about 2 of these water bottles.
Okay.
For men, it's about 3 liters, but at the same time, everyone's different. You want to add more if you're more active, so making sure that you're monitoring your fluid losses, making sure that your urine is not amber-colored, it's more clear and light-colored, that you're going to the washroom every 1 to 2 hours. Those are better indications if you're staying hydrated.
Okay, good tips. Now, here, this is all about the layering.
That's right, especially here in BC. We never really know what we're going to get. So when you're out there, when you're expending energy in the cold weather, you do want to make sure that you're trying to retain your body's temperature and you're trying to keep your muscles at a constant temperature as well. So having a waterproof shell as well as a good base layer should provide you with enough insulation in order to do that, because you don't want your body to be expending more calories in order to try to retain heat. So this should prevent that from happening.
Okay, so yeah, it's all about the layering and having the right kind of products too. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not getting wet.
You don't want to get wet.
Okay, so again, we're going to talk about eating again, but instead of the pre-workout, the post-workout. What's important? What do we need to know about that?
So post-workout, that's just as important as what you're eating before. Our bodies have about a half-hour window where we can actually absorb glucose, which is our body's, energy that comes from food, at the fastest rate. That can then be stored in our muscles as glycogen, which is our
you're now burning it faster after?
You're not burning it faster, it's absorbed faster.
Oh, okay.
Because at that time, your muscles can uptake it at a faster rate and then store it as glycogen, which glycogen is then used during our next workout as fuel.
Okay.
So postpone fatigue during our next workout, basically. So during that half-hour window, get something that's high in carbohydrates.
Okay.
That's especially important, and then a little bit of protein as well. So a really good snack idea that's simple and easy is chocolate milk. So chocolate milk has an optimal amount of carbohydrates with a small amount of protein as well. Provides us with hydration, provides us with electrolytes as well. During the winter months, especially you're coming off the slopes, you might not want to have something cold. So just turning it into hot chocolate, that's a excellent post-recovery snack as well. You can throw in some spices that we have on display here.
Well, I'm intrigued, yes. What's with all this?
Yeah, so there's chili powder, there's cinnamon, we have some cloves, nutmeg, and vanilla extract, and that's just a delicious mix for spicing up your normal hot chocolate and making something different.
Okay, so how much difference can this really make?
It can make a huge difference.
How so?
I work with a lot of athletes, and I can tell you the ones that focus on doing this in the right way are more likely to achieve their goals. They're more likely to come out on top versus anyone that isn't.
So are we talking a 5% difference, a 25% difference?
I don't know if I can measure that
depends.
percentage-wise. It definitely depends. You would be able to feel it in yourself if if you're one day, let's say you go to the gym in the morning, or you go skiing in the morning and you didn't have breakfast. If you compare that day to a day that you did, and especially if you had something that's providing you that right amount of carbs and protein, you will feel like you can go much longer during that day.
I've noticed that too. It's just about being healthy. Thank you so much for coming in. These are all great tips. Appreciate it. Okay, listen, here's another reason to eat this stuff, the good stuff, and not fast food. A new study links drive-through takeout with severe